Breeze, Prince Pretty, and this is Wrestling's Behind the Curtain.
You heard of Cowboy Brock? We talking about Cowboy Chance.
Well, we not talking about Cowboy Brock, but I mean, I can see the correlation.
Yee. You already know what it is. Don't be alone. It is Cowboy Chance today, and Kenzo the Great. We here. If you want to see more about this cowboy, go ahead and go to the Be Yourself podcast. I'm saying we got some things over there for you. But you've seen the thumbnail, so you know what we're talking about. I asked y'all what y'all want to see on the channel a little more, and y'all said some reviews and things and matches and stuff like that. So today, like I said, as you can see with the thumbnail, we are talking John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. You watched the one at SummerSlam, right? That's the one we're talking about, right?
I ain't gonna lie, that was my first thing. Damn, I disappeared. That was the first thing I was gonna say. Is like, if you, I mean, I probably would have asked you at some point, but if you ain't say the squash match, as I was picking one to watch, I was like, if you ain't say it was a glorified squash, I might not have known which one of these to choose. But yeah, I did watch the SummerSlam one. I did think about we could do this again. I after I watched the match, I had a couple of thoughts before we get into the match itself. I was like, first of all, I don't know what took us so long to do this. Second of all, there's just so many different ways to go about this, and I was thinking we could either go every time Brock and John Cena have faced each other, because it's been a couple times and they're not too long. We could go back and do it quickly, or we could do if you again, as you don't see it, this is SummerSlam, so this is right after also Brock broke the streak, so we could do Brock Undertaker. We could do that whole year because Brock was on fire that year, no cap. Or you could go back to old Brock when he faced The Rock. There's a lot of different ways, and that's just off of this video, much less talking about just matches in general. We go back, all 80s, 90s, old thing, compare old wrestling to new wrestling. There's a lot of ways we could do solo videos, together videos, series, whatnot. So I think this could go a long way.
Yeah, just got to put in the comments what do you want. Do you want more of our take on one-on-ones, on The Undertaker? If you want
I better put in the comments because I'm going to just start doing matches I like. I was looking at the recommendations like, I might do one on that one. And if y'all don't like it, it's y'all problem because, y'all ain't commenting and whatnot.
Yeah, y'all ain't tap in polls. All right, so this was directly after the streak, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so from
what Did you watch the commentary or was it commentary off?
No, I had a commentary on.
Okay, just asking.
You're trying to say that I should have known that was the commentary?
No, just asking because it makes a difference. And that's the only reason why I know at one point it was like 8 suplexes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I put the commentary on, but I was also doing other shit, so I wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying. I was just watching what was going on. But when you go back and you listen to like John talk, whatever, so supposedly it wasn't really necessarily supposed to be a squash match. John was supposed to go over, but John, for what he says, was saying it would serve no purpose for Brock to have beat the streak that we still feel he shouldn't have beat, or at least I do, feel that he shouldn't have beat, to get beat by Cena, or to have a pretty hard match, back and forth, which was what made the squash match.
Well, so you said a couple things to comment against. First of all, wrestlers, they just always lying. Who knows if John telling the truth about him, it was his idea, whatever, when they changed it. But as far as the streak goes, because that's a different comment. That's the one I was trying to go back to. I don't know if I wouldn't say Brock was the wrong. I don't think I would say Brock was the wrong person in the industry. I just think the win in house was kind of like, it was kind of. I think like they could have done it better as far as like timing wise. But I mean, if the match itself was pretty good and Brock doing it, I have no problem with. But it was a timing for me. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So yeah, as far as this match goes, it's not supposed to be a squash. Well, if this is on the last second, well, I mean, who does a squash like Brock Lesnar? And I mean, John know how to take a beating. That's one thing to say for sure.
The crazy thing is, one, going back to the streak again, so maybe we should do the streak. I felt at the time, although, what did they say, 2020 hindsight, or hindsight 2020?
Hindsight 2020,
it played out the way it was supposed to play out. But at the time, it served better for Roman to have beat the Streak because
Okay, I can see that.
Roman still wasn't really getting over for obvious reasons. So, which it probably would have made him even worse for him to beat the Streak because they probably would have hated him even more. But
Yeah.
it would have made more because you see Brock and it's like, duh, like Brock could beat Taker. So if he don't win, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? But going back to John again, I don't think when this happened, I don't think we ever seen John lose like that before because he was like Super Cena, I believe, during this time. So where he was beating like 18 Nexus people at the same time, and he was like F5 and not F5 and attitude adjustment everybody. Like so, when he got whooped like that, that was crazy to see.
Yeah, this is SummerSlam 2014. This is like prime John Cena time. Yeah, for sure.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is where Suplex City was born.
Yeah.
So watching all that happen was just like, wow, is he really getting that ass whooped like that? What'd you expect when you first saw the match, like before the bell rang, and then while it was happening, what were you thinking?
Being like when I originally watched it, I remember. So I remember when I originally watched it, I was like, okay, I expected a good match. SummerSlam, biggest party of the summer, blah blah blah. And I was watching wrestling at the time because most wrestling fans have times where they leave and come back. At this time, I was back. So I thought at the time Cena was gonna win because he was just hot. Even though Brock Lesnar just came off the streak, but Cena was a champ. It didn't feel like they was gonna take the belt off him anytime soon. He thought he was gonna go on one of maybe those crazy streaks. And at the time, again, whenever I like something, I always been a nerd for it. So I'd already know like about Bruno Sammartino. I'm like, at the time, it looked like, I mean, if you go have a shot at breaking that record, because WWE like to conflate numbers, breaking records just make things look cool. So if there was ever a time, it looked like John might have been the one to do that at the time. And I did think he was going to win, but and again, obviously you know how a lot of these matches go, especially with John. And when he first had that first rally, because it's like 2 or 3 in the match, when he had that first rally, when you're watching the match, you could just see, you're like, no. there's he's losing. You could see Brock is not, and then when Brock does the mocking the Taker as when he gets up on top of that, you're like, yeah, definitely gonna get his ass whooped. And he just starts ragdolling him with like you said, that's where Suplex City is born. He just starts tossing him, and then there's another F5, and then murder she wrote. But even the match, when you break it down, first 30 seconds, he gives him an F5, and then I
thought it was over there.
And then in the first minute, he gives him he goes for the pin. So it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be quick. So I was actually surprised when rewatching it. I was surprised it ended up being 15 minutes based on the first minute, because you thought that thing was gonna be over quick for real. No, because obviously you do remember it being a squash, and you do remember it being Brock winning. So it's actually a little bit longer than I remember it being, especially for SummerSlam.
For me, 2 things happened. When it first happened, the F5 happened in the pin. I said, "Oh, he get him out of that. That's it. It's over." But then when he didn't, I thought it was going to be typical WWE booking. Oh, so they're going to make him look super.
Yeah, I thought we was going to get your favorite wrestler a Hulkamania moment, where he going to Hulk up and then okay, Cena won. But that's not what happened.
But like I said, then he started just getting whooped. And then they were even saying, they were using commentary like with manhandling and destroying. When's the last time you seen this to John Cena?
That's the one thing I will say. I think they waited a little too long to start to feel sorry for him. But they waited till he threw him like the last time. He dropped him on his head. You can see the tone change. Like, it was like, I think I looked at the timestamp. I think it was like 14 minutes in, and I think the whole video on the WWE YouTube is 16 minutes, and that's with a little bit of extra talking at the end. So it's like literally 14 minutes where they're talking like, well, John Cena's dead now. When it should have started, I think they should have elevated. But again, I mean, I don't know if we're really going to. Again, we're going to keep doing these videos. So I don't know how much about commentary we're really going to comment about, because I mean, especially back then, commentary in WWE wasn't at its peak at that time around the 2014s, if I remember correctly, because it was more Jerry Lawler, a lot less JR, which I mean, personally not my taste, Jerry Lawler compared to JR. So, but the information is still coming across. But I was like, we knew John lost already. You should have gave us that hint, maybe 2 or 3 minutes earlier, the last pin attempt, or before John has that rally where he goes for the the submission attempt. They said, yeah, before there they should be they should think he's dead. So then when he has that rally, maybe you could feel some people. I already knew there's no chance. But then you got Brock Lesnar just turns him over, and that was another thing I want to mention. I don't want to say Brock Lesnar's wrestling is underrated, but I do remember at this time people were saying a lot of people doubted he was going to be able to switch back because he was just coming back from UFC. He was really over there. He even won a belt. He was serious over there.
Because that first promo they had, he busted his lip for real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So there's the thing is his first run on WWE was coming off of just wrestling. This one was coming back from MMA, like real blows. And you can see some of the blows he gives Johnny in that corner right there. You can see that he really like not trying to fuck him up. And it's like, okay, you know, I want to give. I want personally. I just want. I don't think we gave Brock Lesnar enough credit for that, so I wanted to put it in there. But
Yeah, like the first couple seconds, I'm not gonna say they were going at it, but I felt like it was more of. I felt like they were more like what shooting. You know what I mean, like
yeah,
there was some real
some
there
stiff
was
ones in there.
yeah there was some real shit in there. And I was looking at it, I was like, because John's a strong dude. Like John's known to be one of the strongest. They say it's between like John and like Cesaro. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying like Cesaro. I don't even know. Well, I can't really compare those because I don't really know what his strength is. But usually people say Cesaro is that dude when it comes to strength, and people have always said John Cena. And when you see John Cena attitude adjustment, fucking Big Show. I mean, there's some strength there.
Yeah,
But when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I don't really think people can mess with Brock. Like he don't look like he really moving. Like if he really get upset, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't think
yeah,
John got hands like that. But which I guess people would be saying as a youngin say that we be glazing Roman and shit. You know, those are the cousins. But I think that kind of gives props to Roman because when they were like kind of shooting during that match, Roman was taking that shit. It looked like he was giving it back. Pause.
yeah,
And he looked like he was having fun. Like he was smiling through a lot of it. So you know what I mean? And then if you go back and you watch, and I think Roman was talking about Brock one time, he was just like, you know, Brock's a big boy. When you go at it, you're gonna go at it. He said it's gonna be a fight. And he said, if anything, from the football background, like I like to fight.
yeah. So that's part of the reason why, if you remember with them, one of the matches I put on for me to do maybe a solo 2008 Royal Rumble, but I think 2022 Royal Rumble was it 22, 21? I don't remember what year, but the Keith Lee when Brock was just throwing people around and Keith Lee comes in there. That was like a kind of a shoot because again Brock knows that he knew people on the roster, but he had never wrestled Keith Lee at the time, and he knew of him. But he's like when he's seeing like him going and moving like that, he's like he was really impressed. Like that's why he gave him. You can see him like that's a big boy. He was kind of joking around at first, but then Keith Lee came in, and he was a fuck around. He started moving. He's like, okay, all right, I ain't the only motherfucker around here who can move. So
Yeah, but I don't know. Ain't really too much to say. Like it's like I said, we're just gonna give our little quick takes and reviews of matches that we thought were crazy. So you know, y'all can tell us what y'all want us to review, what us to say. We got some ones in the slow cooker. But as far as that go, like I said, it was unprecedented. Never seen Cena get whooped like that before. Brock put the beating on him. Suplex City was born, and I think Brock really solidified to, I guess, if Cena's telling the truth, his point that yeah, he deserved to win the streak. I mean, beat the streak. He deserved to be that dude, and it. Even though it didn't really need to, it did like you said, it really did elevate him more because he was on a hot streak ever since then. And
yeah,
I think that's when the character was born where he was isn't that where he went to like the marquee dude where he would disappear for a while and come back because he was a prize fighter?
yeah. At this point, once he gets the belt, he's like one of the first people who like we don't see the belt. We see the belt on TV and stuff. Like he's talking from other places or he's doing promos and stuff, but he's not like always defending it as much as we had probably seen it previously around this time.
Yeah. So let us know what y'all think about that. Is that one of y'all good favorite matches? Is it not? Did y'all not care for it? Did you F with John? Did you F with Brock? Or what other matches would y'all like to see? Let us know. We here. This is what we're gonna do. Adding more shit to the channel for y'all. 2025 finna be lit. Every time I say at the end of the year what we about to do, we end up doing it. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Definitely subscribe because we're about almost close to 18. We're trying to get to at least 25 by January. At least we like to get 100, but 25 ain't that far off before January. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, share it to your friends, tell your peoples, get the merch, join the Discord. It's free. Do it a good ish. Kenny got some on the merch right now. Come on. Wrestling fans, y'all toxic. We already know.
Camera said not today, no promo.
Not today, you probably got to get your own. That's why you can't see it. But do that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe to the Be Yourself podcast too that we do. There's going to be some more heat coming that way. You know what I'm saying? So, be yourself.